Yo, it's your boy Alfie King. How's it going? I'm just sat here editing this week's episode of the podcast. The first ever time we had a guest, or I had a guest, Louis came on the show, and it was a great podcast. Now, we were running the gun a little bit, because we didn't have much time, or much time to set up. So, my mic's a little bit crunchy, a little bit hot. And sorry if it doesn't sound as good as it could do, but we thought we're just going to post it anyway, because the talk was real good. So, and also the camera cuts out a little bit at the end, but it comes back. So I hope you enjoy this episode of the 106 Mile Podcast. And don't worry, we're going to make it better next time. But yeah, hope you enjoy. All right, peace.
Yo, it's your boy Alfie King. Welcome to the 106 Mile Podcast. Come in, get comfortable.
Yo, it's your boy Alfie King. Welcome to the 106 Mile Podcast, everybody. Come in, get comfortable. Louis, my man!
Yo!
Lewis Paul. Fucking hell, I've been waiting so long to have a guest.
Yeah, man.
And it brings a tear to my eye to see you here. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for being here. Now, customarily, I have to play the show in, so if you don't mind, we should have brought more guitars, but fuck. 106 miles Chicago, gotta get there for dawn. Come on now, brother, you want right along. 106 miles, baby, I hope you got some stories to tell. 106 miles.
Ow! Woo! Yeah! Yeah, baby.
My man.
How's it going, boy? You good?
I'm well. We just had a little jam downstairs. We're at Pirate Studios live in London's heart of Wembley.
Yeah, we did.
It was good. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm very tired. I'm very hungover. I was like, cool, yeah, I'm hungover. It's fine, you know. And then ended up playing drums and now on a podcast. So wild. I thought it was going to be in bed.
Welcome to the Alfie King trend, baby. You know it.
Love it.
No, you've been helping me with my project, the Alfie King experience, or whatever it's going to be called.
Yep.
Working on new stuff. We're getting there. And you taught me something today. Well, you reiterated something to me, which was I kind of go into the room expecting to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm not, because I haven't practiced with the band since COVID and all the rest of it, and I'm fucking stuff up. And again, it was kind of these sessions are like writing sessions, but I've got to the point now where the writing bit is done, like the song seeds, to getting the seeds of the song, that bit's done now. Now we need to go over it and rewrite it and actually make them songs. So again, this is for people who are kind of not 100% like pro songwriters. I mean, I'm not a fucking pro songwriter, but I mean people who want to see how it all works. So you have like a song idea or a seed, for me at least, and then I jam it. And then, like, you kind of find where your range is, like how high or low on the guitar. Like, we had one today where I was singing it, and I was like, oh, it sounded good in my car.
Yeah.
But now we're here, it was too low. It was like, where I want it to be like, my heart stopped loud, like up there.
Yeah.
And it's shit like that. But anyway, the thing that you taught me was, I played it and fucked up, and then I was like, I'm sorry, man, we're going to something else. And you said, no. You were like, we're just going to keep running this.
Yep. That's the best thing to do, man. I think everyone's different. Some people just want to jam it and you kind of come back to it and you're like, oh, I don't know, that will do. But I think in terms to become a very strong performer, and I think if you think about it, how many years you've been playing guitar, right? Like we've been playing guitar for decades, and all of those hours account for how good we are at guitar and how we perform. So if you want to learn a song, you can't just, the way that you learn guitar and the way that you work out in the gym and everything, you can't just do it and it's straight away. You have to think of that song as, okay, I'm starting again. I have like the foundation. I've got halfway there. But now you have to go, right, I'm going to drill this, because it's like anything. Like you train a muscle, you keep working it. Eventually, it's going to be strong enough that, it's all good to go.
You can do what you need.
With music and with getting a song tight, it's easy to think, oh, I can kind of jam it and it's sloppy, that's fine. I can blag it. But then you have a couple beers, you play the show, and it's a
Get
night.
some show nerves.
Yeah, show nerves. Do you know what I mean? You get red light syndrome, you can't record it. I think it's one of those things where if you know it off the, back of your hand and you're strong with it, then you can relax then. You can be calm, because for me, I was always, okay, produce everything, get everything right with music, but I'd never go and make sure the lyrics are in my head for the set all the time.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man.
Early shows, I would play a show and I'll be playing, and when like you're singing the chorus or something, you're like, fuck, the next
What the
the
fuck
verse
is
coming
next?
up.
Yeah, man.
And
like
then you're
this-
trying to find the first word of that verse.
Yeah,
Like,
it's always the
where is it?
first line.
First line of the verse, and to a point that with the first few shows that I did, I used to write the first line of each verse on my set list. But under each song, it would be like just the first line to remember.
Yeah.
I'd still fucking forget it. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man,
I'd
yeah,
sing that
yeah,
line, and then
yeah.
be like, what comes after that? I need to write the whole thing.
Yeah.
Got all the sheets out. No, it was just a case of, I think, you do it, and everyone learns differently as well. I played a wedding once for my auntie, and I had to do a bunch of Ed Sheeran songs, and I couldn't remember the lyrics of these fucking songs, man. So I was like playing along to them, jamming, and I was like, cool, I got the main idea down, but then I was like, I'm gonna have to play this at a fucking wedding. Like, a gig is all right. I'm fine with gigs, man. I'm fine with recording. I'm fine with gigs, but when it's something like a wedding, that's so personal. Like,
Yeah, because it's not your a gig's your thing, right? If you fuck it up, oh well, Louis was shit, Alfie was shit. But if you fuck up a wedding, it's like you fucked my wedding.
Yeah, we divorced because of you. Do you know what I mean? In your set, it's a case of, so I couldn't learn them at all, and I was like, fuck. But the one thing that helped me, and now if I need to remember something, is I write it down. I write it down from start to finish. So even if I've got the lyrics printed out, I have to write each word, because my handwriting is shit and it takes me ages. So I'm physically writing it. For me, that mental kind of, that focus of seeing it, writing it down. Everyone's different though. Some people learn, through listening to things. Some people learn through doing it.
Yeah,
and I
man.
think for me, maybe that's doing it. I have to write those words down to remember it and remember them. So
for sure. And this is another thing, is that when you're the musician singing the song, and Matt, I was the fucking worst for. I mean, I was lucky in a way, because when we used to do the blues shows, I'll be really good at improvising stuff.
Yes.
And I mean, the blues is a very.
That's your curse though, because you're really, really good at improvising. You can improvise all day. I could not improvise anything the way that you do. So when you play a show, you almost have that confidence, which is a double-edged sword, because you're like, it's all good if it's we just jam in like blues in D. How many shows have we played that? I think we've all played it on every instrument, being like, cool, let's go, and you just literally come in with a verse like bang bang bang, and I'm just like, how the fuck did you think of those lyrics straight away? I'm not allowed, because I'm on a backing track. For my music, I can't, do you know what I mean? Because the harmonies will kick in and they'll be singing something else. I'll be like, oh shit.
But the thing is that when you play as a musician, you're playing for yourself, and like I said, you're like, oh, it doesn't matter if I fuck it up as such, because it's my show or whatever. But we're trying to get to the next level as musicians, where we're playing for the audience.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And we're there to make sure they're having a good time, and audio interaction and eye contact and all the rest, and trying to get those performance skills. Because like I said, you have a song, and the songs, like, you can write a song and then you can try and play it, but it's almost like you write a song, then you have to teach yourself the song to remember it, like you're learning somebody else's song.
Yeah.
And when you record it and release it and it becomes somebody's thing, like it's their anthem or their song, it's then like your job or responsibility to provide that experience, because they want to sing along and be part of it.
Yeah.
Because I think what makes music great is when it involves everyone and it's an emotional resonance, because you're bringing them up, and then you can kind of pull them through things. So you can bring them up, have the energy up high, and then bring it down for a slow song, and to then build it up again. Yeah. But the connection, I think, is lost as soon as you don't sing the lyrics right, because then people are singing along and they're like,
absolutely. And I think you have to know that, because like you said, it becomes somebody's anthem. They love that song, and if you start singing something different, they'll look at you like, what? I don't like this. And also, at the end of the day, I think when I used to play shows when I was younger, I'd be like, cool, I'm doing it because I want to do it. I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm doing it because I don't care what happens on stage, don't care what I do. And as you get older, you start to realise, when you go to loads of shows and you go to those really good shows that you're stood in the crowd and you're like, fuck. The kind of shows that like you'll go to and you'll be like, I've got to go home, I've got to start again.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
man, they're the best. They're the best.
Yeah, you need those shows, man. Very important stuff. You've got to go home and be like, okay, cool, right, I'm going to redo everything. I'm going to work on this, because that's when you see things. That's when, do you know what I mean? You're kind of aspiring to be on that level, and eventually you kind of do become that level, and it's fine. But for me, going to those shows and seeing that, it would always be like for me, it was the set intro. That song comes on, you're like, oh shit, life's just been down. And the band walk out, do you know what I mean? And before, you'd be like, I'm going to tune my guitar on stage and just start playing. I'm not allowed to play now. But like, seeing that, I was like, okay, I'm going to walk off stage. I'm going to do a set intro, music comes on. Everyone goes, oh shit. Little things like that, I was like, okay, cool, now, you know, those people in the crowd who haven't been to some shows might be like, oh, okay, shit, they're a pro band. When I start playing, they realise I'm not. But yeah, literally.
Let me say hard.
Yeah, you got to have that kind of, like that professionalism and start to realize that at the end of the day, you're a performer now.
Yeah.
Just in the way that you go to like theatre and stuff, and you
Yeah.
see it and you're like, wow, this is a production. You're there to perform. And I think the difference between like a decent kind of band that's all about the music, like, yeah, people be like, yeah, it sounds really good, man. It's cool having a beer. And then you get the band that like rock out and they're going crazy and they sound tight and you're like, oh shit, these are amazing. I think those kind of bands, when they're put in the middle of a set and the headliners aren't that great, it's like, oh, okay, those are the bands going to the top, you know?
Yeah.
It's that level of professionalism and they're all prepared, and it's from having your gear ready to being like as tight as possible, being in tune, being ready for everything. You've got to have everything like good to go. And
tour grade, baby.
yeah, tour grade. That's it, man. You've got to be tour grade all the time.
And again, when you see, this is probably something that's a negative in the grand scheme of things, but I think a positive in some ways. I get hyper competitive when it comes to music. Hyper competitive.
Yeah.
In regards to, I'll see a band play and I'm like, yeah, man. And I wish the best for everyone. I want everyone. I don't want shit bands. But I see it as like, right, now it's my fucking time.
Yeah.
And I want to go and double what they've done and do it. Because I want them to come and double me. And then I'll come back and we're working with each other. Do you know what I mean? Getting better each show. Because a lot of the time you get on we used to play with Calla Saints, or you get on like a circuit, right? And you're kind of seeing each other and you're playing different shows. And when they rock and the crowd is singing and doing it, and you're like, oh man, I've got to follow this shit.
Yeah.
And then this is the thing I love about music, is that there's always the opportunity for greatness.
Yeah.
When we were rehearsing downstairs and messing around, and I was fucking shit up and I was getting angry with myself and trying to make myself, and I know that I'm like, it's in you can play these lines clean. And then when you do get it clean and get it tight, it's just like, I fucking did that. Or you put this, and this comes down to the like spiritual aspect, for want of a better word. Like when I'm on stage, I feel like a spiritual thing, or like something, like I'm here, this is what I fucking do.
Yeah.
This is me.
This is it.
More than anything in my life.
Yeah. Honestly, with your shows as well, I mean, I've been on stage next to you and I've seen you like that. But I think the first time that, when I think is when you kind of came back, maybe from Birmingham, so you and you're the Muddy Boys, right? One of your first bands. You came back and you played in the King's Head in town, and you're outdoors. And this is a very long time ago now, of course.
Yeah,
but
man, like 10 years ago.
I hadn't seen you for a little while. I think, do you know what I mean? Because during then, I think when you were at uni and I was off doing other stuff, it would literally go for years, and then we'd just come back and be like, best mate, it's still good. So, but I remember coming down and being like, oh, okay, he's playing a little gig, thinking, oh, whatever. And you were throwing down and playing like with such passion. And I think you have a lot of big characters, so you like when you sing and you go for it, it's amazing. And I think it catches everyone's attention because they're like, damn, that guy is like, he means every word he's saying. So many shows you'd be like, oh yeah, like, but when you come on stage and you go for it, I think our best show was the last one when we played Cycle Express. And we played in Aylesbury, and you all came out in white like boiler suits to that like classical song. We walked on stage, and it was such an epic, like, because that was it. We were like, right, fuck it, let's just go balls to the wall, go for it. This is gonna be crazy. And we walked on, and we were going so crazy, and you were singing with such passion, and we were rocking outside. Didn't realize the bass like wasn't working right for the first couple of songs or something, and like Pete was like, you know, fuck, and it was just like a real rock show. And there was a mosh pit, and then like, there was like these barriers, and people were like shaking the barriers. They were like made out of wood as well, so coming off
like
splinters everywhere. Got a saw taking it down. It was crazy. And I think that's what you do so well, is that when you sing, because like I think with your music it's tough sometimes, because you know you can play at home and you can like jam. Basically what happened today, right?
Yeah.
You were singing in a completely different register to where you actually felt should be singing.
Like
because
4 semitones down.
Because when you get that live band,
get
the live band going and you're rocking out, you're like, oh fuck, okay. And you have that's your performer. Like you have a big, strong voice, and like you really go for it. And it's funny because like you do that and I love that, but then my music is like the softest, like shit.
But
different strokes, right?
Yeah, different emotions. And I go out there to fucking like throw down in a way. Like I think my energy is very like not masculine, but very like that kind of like, it's frustration, angst. That's my energy of like trying to fucking grab life by the throat and, do you know what I mean, and shake it and just be like, what the fuck are we doing?
And it suits the style of music. So you look at Howlin' Wolf and people like that and stuff. There's such like, well, that's the blues. You know what I mean, that raw emotion.
Oh, the voice.
It couldn't be more. I think in all the genres, that is like the most emotive kind of, you know, genre almost, because it's like the blues. I've got the blues, or do you know what I mean? It's always connected to like a feeling as well. Yeah. And you get certain people that do it real soft, and then you get like Howlin' Wolf and other people that like shout when they go for it. And I think you've always been inspired by that Muddy Waters and stuff. Like
Muddy Waters mainly. But
Muddy Waters mainly. But
yeah.
I think that's transferred over to the stuff you do now.
Yeah, man. And without naming names, I mean, I know when we were at college and we had certain lecturers and they'd be like, well, you know, the blues, it's just this and that and whatever. But maybe they did say it. But it was like, well, here's another better example of it, actually. So there was an interview in Muddy Waters when the Stones got really big, and obviously the Stones got their name from Rolling Stone, blah, blah, blah. And Mick Jagger, the guitarist, no, fucking Keith Richards, sorry, wanted to be in a blues band, but I think Mick Jagger wanted to make it more mainstream, whatever. And they interviewed Muddy Waters when the Stones got big, and they came over and they were like, oh, what do you think to these Stones guys coming and taking, like, you know, trying to do your sound or your thing? And they went, they can play like Muddy, they can try and sing like Muddy, but they ain't never gonna be Muddy. And it's like the mojo or tone of somebody's voice and the way they deliver it, that is 90% of blues.
Yeah.
And when I used to do sound, and like I'd mix sound for blues bands every night of the week, and I'm probably going to catch the fucking heat for this, 90% of the British blues scene was bullshit. Was bullshit. Now, they were having a great time and they were expressing themselves, and I'm a fucking 1,000,000% for that. But I'm talking about great, and again, this is my interpretation. You did get some that were amazing. Nicky Moore, Paul Lamb, the King Snakes. There were some fucking sick musicians, don't get me wrong. But then you got these kind of Weekend Warrior types and da-da-da. And they kind of played the songs, but they kind of half limped through them. And they were just like, my baby left me. Or like, and I think this is what gives Dum Burden, Dum, my baby left me, da-da, or whatever, a bad name.
Yeah.
Because when Muddy Waters was like, Gypsy woman told my mother before I was born, the amount of tone and passion he puts into those lines, that carries the song. Yeah. Where when they're like, Gypsy woman told my mother.
Because they've learnt it, but they're not playing it. Do you know what I mean? They're playing the song technically, but it's a whole different beast. And I think a good example of that as well is when we talk about those kind of old tracks like Muddy Waters and that kind of stuff. You actually listen to the sonic aspect of it, the drums, and it sounds like a cardboard box and a fucking wet flannel being hit, and you're like, how is that so good? And it's because of the performance itself is so big. But you go in there and we're playing a ride and all that kind of stuff, and if I was to play the technical drums that they were playing, sound like dog shit, but because it's the power of it and that, like you said, with the vocal tone and that guy and everything in that room and that authentic kind of power behind it, it's, you just can't perfectly replicate it. And I don't think, people should. They should find their own inspirations from it. And,
I'm not trying to throw hate, but what I mean is it was people who are enjoying themselves as a hobby coming in and playing, because where I worked was not massive, but it was a tour. It was a touring circuit for people warming up to go and play bigger shows. And it was like, if you're going to come in here and do this, there's levels to it. And they would wonder why people didn't like it or people didn't respond or whatever. Oh, the crowd was bad. And it's like, nah, man, you weren't throwing heat. That's what happened, unfortunately, because you didn't get the connection to the crowd. And this carries through all kinds of music, but I think in a different way, to go back to you, when it comes to old swing, it's the production, it's the synths, it's the way you write your lyrics. It's like where I'm just throwing hammer on the vocal line and the guitar line or whatever and trying to get simplicity with emotion. I think that's not simplicity, like streamlined stuff, because a lot of the blues harmonically is can be quite simple, although there's people that go off kilter and they still sound sick. But with your stuff, it's a lot more harmonically complex, a lot more production heavy, a lot more, and you're carrying that emotion in that medium. And this is where it comes to, like, don't get me wrong, you got to be tight in blues. Fuck me, Stevie Ray Vaughan was tight as a drum. Where with old swing, like we were talking about, you said you got to get in the studio and go over it and over it and over it and over it, and if people moan about it, then you're not right for the band.
And that's the thing, because you're not allowed any kind of breaks in that, because there's a backing track, right? Like we use tracks and there'll be synths and stuff coming in, there'll be harmonies in, so you got to be on that. You got to be prepared, like
click tracks,
spot on, like, because for me, I mean, when you go to a show, you want to hear what's on the record, right? And you want to hear that record live, and maybe with some new aspects of it, but like performance. So you want to have like the best experience of that. So, short of finding a synth player in London anywhere, like we literally put synths in the track. Sometimes we even have bass in it if we can get a bassist for the show. Just make it happen. So we put as much into it and make it sound as good as possible, because I want people to be like, wow, okay, that was different, something else. So, but it means there's no room for error. But I think it's interesting when you talk about performing and shows and stuff, because with old swing, like, I always do something, and you probably remember from me asking you a million times when we've been to shows, but it's like, I'll come off stage, it'll be a good show and everything, but I'll go around and ask people, what was wrong with it? Like, what would you change? Because for me, like, I want it to be the best show possible. So I'll go around and ask people, like, what was bad? And they'll be like, oh, the lighting was fucked, or like, oh, no, like the tune was off, or like that track was really loud compared to the other ones and stuff. That feedback to me is so important, because I don't want to go off stage. Like, obviously, everyone needs compliments, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm insecure. Please tell me something good.
Why we're here, baby. That's why we're playing that shit, man.
Yeah, but you know, at the end of the day, like, yeah, if somebody says great set, dude, that's all good. But I want as much constructive criticism as possible, because imagine if you didn't get to where you could go because everyone was nice and just said, yeah, cool, crack on. But they didn't tell you, oh, dude, like that bit that you sing in that song every time is like literally discordant or it's flat or something. And imagine like not knowing that entire time, and then, you know, you don't fix it. Do you know what I mean? You want to be as good as possible. Obviously there's limits, and music is completely subjective. Like, I get that, but I just want as much feedback because I want that to be as good a show as possible. You know, I love getting on stage and rocking out and like moving around and trying to get people involved. And I think, yeah, you got to do everything you can, right, for a good show.
And again, there's one thing to come off stage and be like, yeah, man, I played real well, which is something that's hard to get anyway for you when you walk off and you think you played well. When you walk off and everybody's like, oh my God, that was the fucking best show ever. Fucking, you know, you're just like, oh, yeah, this is it. This is because, again, you're here for everybody's experience. You're here to bring everybody up. Yeah. And when you say about fixing things, if nobody tells you, like, bro, you're always flat when you and you're like, oh yeah, I always struggle because the wedges are bad because we play like small shows or whatever at the time, you can then be like, well, maybe I should try in-ears, like the headphones in your ears, right? And then you try that, and then everyone's like, yeah, your pitching's great. And you're not shouting into the mic because you were shouting before. Like, I've had that where I can't hear myself and I shout too much.
Bro, always, yeah.
You know, and then you have in-ears and you're like, oh yeah, cool. And then again, it's levels of production and levels of, but when we started, I was just trying to remember chords and trying to, you know, but we're past that now. And it's like, you should have your house in order. You should know your set. You should know all this stuff. And now it's like, how do I get the show?
Well, mate, this is the thing. Like I always say, when you want to step up and stuff, new levels, new devils. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
damn.
When you step up and you want to like try and make something better, it's going to come with more issues, right? So with music and stuff, like, okay, cool. I remember back in the days, they'd be like, cool, just put a song out. You'd be like, okay, cool, I'm just going to put it on MySpace or something. I used to put music out, right? I'd be like, cool, put it on MySpace and hope people care, because I've got friends from school and stuff that will listen to it and it'll get around. Then fast forward a decade, show my age now, fast forward a decade, and like, I remember when I first started Old Swing, I'd be like, I just popped it on Spotify and hope for the best. And now, if you release a song, you got to have everything ready to go like 12 weeks prior or something. Then you got to do all your pitching, you got to submit it to playlists, do all your PR, pay for a PR person. I mean, do you know what I mean? Like hundreds of pounds and stuff.
It's the business.
All your photo shoots beforehand.
Business and music business, yeah.
This is one single, like this preparation behind it.
And that's learning.
New levels, new devils, man. If you want to step up and do that kind of professional level, you need to think about every aspect. And I think seeing what other bands are doing and how they're performing and going, you know, because sometimes there'll be like this kind of like curtain, you'll think, oh no, like, well, they've got that money from that major label. Maybe they do. Or like, oh yeah, but you know, they've got a creative director and art director behind them making them look all cool and stuff. But it's like, we live in a DIY culture now, like with TikTok and stuff like that, and people doing DIY and like, and getting behind it. It's like, no, fuck it. Like the last, so Bruise, the last single, I wanted to do a video for it, and had, you know, like not much cash to do it, and I was like, oh, I don't know what to do, like, but I was just like, fuck, I need some kind of visual aspect, because now on Spotify you have like the canvas, which is like the little short video that plays when you press on the song. I was like, I need something.
Oh yeah.
So I went on YouTube and found different like clips and stuff, like light leaks and clouds and stuff, and just put it on my TV. And then I set up a tripod on my bed with my iPhone, turned all my lights off in my room, so it was just like this coming from it, and I stood in front of the TV. So it was a silhouette, and I was like, okay, fuck it, cool. And now I'm rocking out to a silhouette, but now it looks like a bit of a video, and people are like, hey bro, did you use a green screen for that? What software did you use? I was like, just fucking my iPhone.
And it looked
TV,
dope.
mate.
It looked fucking sick, man.
This is the thing, that cost me fuck all.
I was very shocked by it.
So it's having that idea, and sometimes I struggle to have those like creative ideas and think, okay, how can this look visually? And there's a lot that goes into it, and I'm not saying don't, you know, do it all DIY. Find there are amazing people out there.
If you got the resources,
if you have the resources, there are people.
If anybody want to invest in me, baby, you can sign me up, Scotty.
Yeah,
you know,
that's it. So that there are amazing people out there that have absolutely amazing creative ideas that will definitely take you to the next level. But I think new levels, new devils, man. If you want to step up, you need to think about all these aspects of music now. And obviously that isn't just, that may be more on the pop kind of genre, and the thing that I do, you know, with blues and with rock and stuff and punk, I know like it's more like just rough and ready, like throw it out. But
this is the thing. This is what this is about.
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring me as an artist into the 21st century, and not be like, oh, I play a blues festival or a thing and then I never put anything else out. And one thing that really fucking annoys me, and maybe there's a good reason behind it, but people that have Instagram who are musicians and they have videos, but there's no music or them playing in any of the videos. And it's just all, like, I understand still shots, but there's no, like, you know, you've got that, it's not you playing with a guitar, but it's you in front of a screen singing, like silhouetting, blah, blah, blah. That's perfect. But you go on, like, I've seen blues people and you go on there and there's no, I'm like, what the fuck do you sound like? What are you playing? Like, you know, but it's all posters and all
just
this.
stills and posters and stuff. And it's like, the thing is, like, people's attention span is like shorter than a goldfish now, because we grew up in a digital world where when we were younger, we spent time on MySpace and MSN and Bieber and fucking everything. Do you know what I mean? Like, all those websites constantly just sitting there. You'd go home and you'd jump in MSN right after school.
Yeah,
you'd be
man,
like, jump on there and chat to your crush or whatever. Yeah, love that. And we were online all night until, and then broadband came along. And then like, we were online even more and it's faster.
Mom, get off the phone.
Disconnecting that like fucking,
yeah.
like crazy. So, and then we were online so much at that young age, that means that now our attention span is like, fuck this, because you're so tight. It's a big part of your life now, but the attention span, it has to be like so quick and you have to engage with people immediately. And because, I mean, a good example is that people who aren't kind of subject to that, like older people, like my parents and other people would be like, you're in that 40 to 50 range, you didn't have that growing up. So when you're online, this is all new and exciting to you. So you'd sit there and watch them scroll through and they'd like and comment on each post, and that's really cool because they haven't had to go through like years and years and years of getting sick of it. So, but people who have now, mate, when I go on like Spotify and stuff and listen to music, it's really bad, but like I'll shuffle music and I'll know within 1 to 2 seconds if I like that song, and maybe if I'm not sure I'll scrub through, but it's so quick. Like you have to engage people and have that aspect and making it look good. And I think people who just like put Instagram up and it's just photos and random shit, it's like, why would I want to now go to find out what you sound like on Spotify? If that was available right there and I liked it and I like watched it and was like, this is sick, I'm in then. Do you know what I mean? I'm a warmer lead, I think. But.
And again, trying to be like a contemporary artist or media, whatever, you can think of it like a funnel. So you go, so I'll keep checking the camera, make sure and then stop recording on me.
Right.
So people come to see your show. They don't know who you are. They've come to see Sarah and the Bubble Machine headlining.
My favourite band, if you remember.
And
let's throw back, little Easter egg from the old episode.
And they see an amazing show. No, sorry. They see the first band, really good. Then you come out before the main headliner and you're fucking awesome. And they're like, oh my God, that was the production was amazing. The blah, 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 my new favourite band. Yeah. You've got to have the shit ready. Hi, we're Old Swing. Find us on Spotify, Instagram, Old Swing or whatever.
Right to the back.
And then they go on there and they're like, yeah, man, this band was so sick. And you've got sick press shots on there. You got some music videos or you got some whatever on your Instagram. Yeah. And for me, I'm just trying to bring it in more where I'm comfortable, because I know not everybody's comfortable with it. Come in, get comfortable. I like talking to people and looking at the musician's experience from going from like, I mean, hopefully over the years we'll progress as musicians and people can watch the journey of like, how did these two go, and getting other people in like Pete and Seb and whoever from other bands and other experiences and other musicians. Anybody want to come on, please just email me, baby. You can see this world. So what I'm saying is that you find this band, they're really cool, and then you go on like my Instagram and then you see clips from a podcast. You're like, motherfucker does a podcast? Like, I would love to have that access to a musician that I enjoy. Yeah. And you could be like, oh, let's see what this guy's into. Yeah. And again, it's trying to just bring it all into the 21st century a bit. So there's a package of content for people. Yeah.
But this is the thing, man. And as artists have evolved, because before you'd have people to do that. And now in the digital age, it's all about optics. Optics.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's the big thing. It's like how you're perceived and what you do. Because I mean, if you go onto an Instagram account, it's just some fucking terrible shots and it's all just like blurry and stuff, and it's bad in general. Why would you be into that? Do you know what I mean? Why would you? Whereas if it looks really professional, and you can do so much now with technology, like to make sure it's that level, everything looks clean, and it's a visual identity and it's a perception of it. Whether like bands kind of like, you know, they go for that because it's all about the look, right? I mean, and people say, oh, that's all, you know, it's not about the look, it's about the music. Yeah, love the fucking music, but if you've got the music and the look,
it's
you're
even
a pop
better,
star,
baby.
mate.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
man.
You got like, it's so important, and having like the optics and stuff of it, you have to just be perceived as that, and as you've got it all together, because then people can invest in it. I mean, you look at,
because they want to be part of it.
yeah,
You see, like, cool.
it's a gang culture, isn't it?
Yeah.
Almost, you know what I mean? Like joining in and like, I want to be part of that gang, I want to be part of that clique. Do you know what I mean? Like certain bands will have like their merch and stuff that's all the same color and all the same style, and everything will be reflective of that.
It's
and you
more
feel like you're
expression of
part the
creativity.
community.
Yeah. It's the band's vibe.
Yeah.
It's the you're investing in that and getting into that because you love it.
Yeah, you got to know your vibe, man.
That's it, my man. No, I didn't see the fucking camera just time out. So sorry if that just cut in the middle of some bullshit. But I was just saying, I literally just finished it as well. Thank you very much for coming on today, Louis.
Anytime, brother.
Anybody watching, check out Old Swing. It's the fucking shit.
Thank you.
Would you like to come back again? I hope you would.
Absolutely. I think next time, a few more beers, some pizza, and we'll really get into it. Because I mean, we grew up together. We've got a lot of stories.
We got a lot of stories, man. Some that will never be heard.
Oh yeah.
I hope you've been comfortable.
Very. Thank you very much.
And I'm going to play this one out.
Go.
106 miles Chicago, gotta get there for dawn. Come on now, brother, you won't ride long. 106 miles, baby, hope we got some stories to tell. 106 miles.
Woo! Woo! It's a wrap, baby.
It's a wrap.